Most women don't lose interest because of something you said or a single mistake you made. They usually lose interest because of subtle shifts in your mindset, shifts you don't recognize in real time. It's the way you start overthinking small things, the way you react when you feel insecure, the way your energy changes when you become afraid of losing her. These tiny internal patterns are invisible to you, but extremely obvious to her. And once she senses them, her emotional connection begins to decline without warning. Think about it. You might be texting her the same way, talking the same way, showing up the same way, but something in you is different. Maybe you're suddenly nervous about her replies. Maybe you start reading too deeply into her tone. Maybe you're trying harder than before, not because you want to, but because you're worried she might leave. Women notice that shift instantly. It changes how they feel without either of you openly talking about it. And once that shift happens, interest fades faster than most people expect. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It's subtle. One day the connection feels natural, and the next day it feels like you're chasing something that used to come easily. So if you've ever watched a woman slowly pull away, texting less, sounding colder, showing less enthusiasm, this video will show you the real reason behind it. Not the excuses she might give, not the stories you tell yourself, but the actual mindset patterns that quietly shape attraction and push women away long before they say anything out loud. You text her, and suddenly her replies start slowing down. Messages that used to come in minutes now take hours. The energy that once felt mutual starts to fade, but you don't know why. So you try a little harder. You initiate more conversations. You put more effort into being interesting, supportive, or available. But instead of bringing her closer, she becomes colder. Her messages get shorter, her tone gets flatter, and the vibe feels different. It's like you're watching the connection drain in real time, and you can't stop it. This is a situation almost everyone in the US dating scene experiences today. And most people assume it's about attraction, appearance, or some external flaw. But the truth is, dating usually doesn't fail because of your income, your looks, or your lifestyle. It fails because of a set of mindset mistakes that quietly send the wrong signals. These mistakes create pressure, uncertainty, or emotional imbalance. Things that instantly change how someone feels, even if your behavior on the surface hasn't changed much. It might be overthinking her responses, or giving too much too fast, or needing her reassurance without realizing you're asking for it. These internal shifts alter your tone, timing, and energy in ways you don't notice, but she absolutely does. People are extremely sensitive to emotional cues, especially in early dating, and one small mindset shift can change the dynamic completely. And the worst part, you never catch these mistakes while you're making them. You only realize something went wrong after the interest is already fading, when it feels too late to fix it. By the time you notice the distance, the damage is usually done. Here are the 10 mindset mistakes that make women lose interest fast, and the Stoic fixes that put you back in control of yourself, your reactions, and the energy you bring into any connection. Mistake 1. Overthinking every interaction. This is where everything usually starts to fall apart. You replay her messages in your head, analyze her tone, worry about how fast she replies, and imagine problems that aren't actually happening. When your mind spirals, your presence becomes shaky. Women notice the shift immediately. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Overthinking blinds you to what's real and makes you behave in ways that feel uncertain or pressured. It creates tension she never asked for. Mistake 2. Needing constant reassurance. You look for signs she still likes you. You check her tone. You look for emotional confirmation. But reassurance seeking comes off as pressure, even when you try to hide it. Women can feel when you're depending on them to feel okay. Stoics practice self-validation, grounding confidence in action and character, not in someone else's responses. When you depend on reassurance, she feels responsible for emotions she didn't create. Mistake 3. Trying too hard to impress. This happens when you believe you have to perform to be liked. You over-explain, brag a little, or oversell your personality. Psychology calls this approval seeking. The harder you try to impress someone, the less genuine you seem. Women pick up on that. True attraction comes from authenticity and calm confidence, not performance. Mistake 4. Misinterpreting neutral signals. A late reply doesn't mean she's losing interest. A short answer doesn't mean she's upset. A neutral tone isn't rejection. But many people instantly assume the worst. This creates anxiety, which affects how you respond. When you assign negative meaning to neutral behavior, you behave defensively or overly eager, and that emotional swing makes the other person pull away. Mistake 5. Reacting emotionally instead of responding calmly. Most people don't lose interest because of disagreement. They lose interest because of how you handle your emotions. A calm response builds trust. A reactive one creates uncertainty. Epictetus said, "If someone provokes you, remember, it is your judgment that upsets you." Emotional reactions create unnecessary conflict, pressure, or tension. Calm responses show maturity and stability. Which mistake are you guilty of most? Type the number in the comments. Mistake 6. Becoming too available too fast. When your entire schedule opens up for someone you barely know, it sends a message you don't intend, that you have no boundaries or priorities. Availability is good until it becomes excessive. Women don't pull away because you're kind or present. They pull away when your world starts revolving around them too quickly. Mistake 7. Expecting her to fix your emotions. No one wants to be responsible for someone else's emotional stability. When you rely on someone to calm your fears, ease your doubts, or regulate your mood, it becomes draining. Stoicism teaches self-regulation first. Your emotions are your responsibility. When you manage them well, you become someone who brings peace instead of pressure. Mistake 8. Thinking attraction is earned through effort. Attraction isn't a reward for trying hard. It's the result of presence, emotional stability, and confidence. When you treat attraction like something you must earn, you end up chasing, overinvesting, or proving yourself. Trying harder often makes things worse because it sends the signal that you feel you're not enough as you are. Mistake 9. Forgetting your own life mission. When you lose focus on your purpose, your goals, your growth, your path, you unintentionally make the other person your main source of meaning. That creates imbalance. People are naturally drawn to those who have direction. When you drift from your mission, you lose the energy and drive that made you attractive in the first place. Mistake 10. Being afraid to walk away. Fear of losing someone creates clinginess, hesitation, and emotional inconsistency. When you're afraid to walk away, you tolerate behavior you shouldn't, and your boundaries disappear. One of the strongest Stoic principles is detachment from outcomes. You can care, but you must never fear losing yourself in the process. Attachment without boundaries suffocates connection faster than anything else. Here's how to fix all 10 mistakes with simple Stoic habits you can start using today, habits that don't require a personality makeover or pretending to be someone you're not. They simply train your mind to stop reacting from fear, insecurity, or confusion. Stoic Fix 1. Control your first reaction. Before you reply, breathe. Most problems in dating start with a reaction that happened too fast. Anger, anxiety, overanalysis, or trying to correct something that didn't need correction. The Stoics believed your first reaction is your weakest moment because it's pure emotion. If you pause, even for 4 seconds, you interrupt the spiral. You become someone who thinks before acting, not someone who panics and sends a message they regret. Your calmness becomes your advantage because calm people make better decisions, communicate clearly, and don't create unnecessary tension. Stoic Fix 2. Set a 24-hour emotional rule. Never respond to disappointment instantly. When something triggers you, she replies late, she cancels, she sounds distant, your brain jumps to fear-based conclusions. The 24-hour rule isn't about ignoring her, it's about giving yourself enough time to see the situation realistically instead of emotionally. Most things that feel like a crisis at 8 p.m. look small the next morning. This rule helps you avoid emotional bursts, defensive messages, or pressure-filled replies. You give yourself time to cool down, process, and choose a response that reflects strength instead of insecurity. Stoic Fix 3. Build an inner life that doesn't depend on her. Routine, goals, fitness, purpose, these stabilize your energy. If your entire mood rises or crashes based on one person's attention, you're not in control of your life. The Stoics believe the strongest people were the ones whose identity didn't depend on external validation. When you have a real routine, work, hobbies, social moments, personal goals, your emotional world becomes balanced. You stop obsessing over texts. You stop waiting for approval. You stop attaching your value to someone else's behavior. A stable inner life makes you more attractive because you're coming from strength, not need. Stoic Fix 4. Observe more, interpret less. Facts over feelings. Most dating stress comes from assumptions. Stories your mind invents to fill silence or explain something you don't understand. Stoicism teaches you to separate what actually happened from the story your emotions want to attach to it. Maybe she replied late because she's tired. Maybe her short text means nothing. Maybe life is simply happening. When you observe instead of interpret, you stop feeding insecurity and you communicate with more clarity and honesty. Stoic Fix 5. Be willing to lose anyone who doesn't choose you. This is the ultimate Stoic discipline, freedom from attachment to outcomes. When you're afraid to lose someone, you start acting from fear. Fear of messing up, fear of saying the wrong thing, fear of being replaced. That fear creates pressure, and pressure destroys attraction. But when you accept that anyone can leave and you'll still be okay, you gain a different kind of strength. You stop forcing things. You stop chasing. You stop trying to control the uncontrollable. This mindset doesn't make you cold, it makes you grounded. You value connection, but you don't cling to it. Which Stoic Fix do you want a full video on? Tell me in the comments so I know where to go deeper. When you fix your mindset, everything shifts. You don't feel the urge to chase people who are pulling away. You don't panic when someone becomes distant. You don't try to perform or impress. You become steady, calm, and hard to shake. That's the kind of presence women naturally stay interested in. Not because you're trying harder, but because you've stopped acting from fear and started acting from clarity. If you want daily Stoic lessons on attraction, emotional self-control, and modern relationship psychology, hit subscribe. You'll learn how to communicate with confidence, stay composed under pressure, and build a kind of mindset that makes people respect you without you demanding it. Stay calm, stay disciplined, and stay in control of your mind.